Right, well thanks for letting me talk to you again tonight. Eddie rang me up at the start of the year, could I talk about something? And I had just finished last year writing about the South Chapel, which was 250 years old last year. So I thought, right, speak about the records. And you probably all know the South Chapel in Cork City. Also know, or I always call it the South Chapel. My mother's father's people came from there, so we always knew it was that. It's obviously St. Finbarr's Church, the official name. It's often called St. Finbarr South as well because there was the loch when it was initially built was St. Finbarr's West, so then people started calling the South Chapel St. Finbarr South. And so, no, the modern parish is on the Plunkett Street on the north, St. Patrick's Road on the south, St. Mary's the Island, which is Shamrock Crawford Street on the west, and Albert Road on the east, and that's very important because it was before that, it was a very big part. Oh, sorry, let's just show you this, just small maps that I found. This one, that's the Red Abbey. This is before the church was built, it was all gardens. And then in 1897, the church was here. And all these maps are on Cork past and present. There's lots of other maps. Now, this map was on the old diocesan website. I don't know if it's still there, but I annotated it, and it's very interesting because you can see this is all the South Parish pretty much originally, okay? And that's very important for the records. So if you actually think about your own parish, now most parishes don't change as much, I suppose, over the years, but the South Parish, it's there since, I don't know, 15th century or something, and it initially covered, it went all the way down to Ireland, and I think over, roughly, it took in, there's a Genealogical class here, and I think it didn't take in Cork, but it was pretty much the whole thing. So it was a huge parish. So if you were thinking of your ancestor was in, not Dublin's now, well, because Dublin was a separate parish, but I don't say that because I have ancestors who were in Blackrock in 1820, and they're in the South Parish records. You'd be thinking, it's not Blackrock. So it's important to know what's the extent of it at a certain time period, what's the extent of the parish that you're talking about. It would be interesting to look at the North Parish. I don't know anything about it, to see how far out did that go as well. But I think the South Parish might have been bigger. I mean, you can see these is just the city parishes, and as you know, the middle parishes in the middle area, and you get other quirks. Like I went to school on the Mardyke, St. Bridget's College, which is long gone, and every second year the confirmations were in the middle parish, where the school is located, so that's Peter Paul's, or the other year it was in the South Parish, and I ended up going to the South Chapel for the confirmation. So like people, often move around like that. As I say, my grandfather was born in Evergreen Road. Now he was born in the South Parish. He was then turned into Turner's Cross in 1932. So, with all these little wrinkles. So actually, I find it quite hard to find my ancestors. They are there, I have found them, and I'll show you the database later on. The database is meant that I can actually find them easier than looking at our genealogy. I was playing around with our genealogy earlier on, and I couldn't find some of them, but they are on the South Parish records. So that's just to say about to look at your parish boundaries. So this is where I'd say, for instance, the first subdivision of the parish was St. Michael's Blackrock. The church was built. Now the thing is, as well, on that map, in the diocesan map, what someone wrote in dates, but they're actually dates just for the churches, not for the parishes. So sometimes they're different. So St. Michael's Blackrock was built in 1819, as you know, burnt down, I think 63 or 62. But the parish was only created in 1848. So there's a chapel of ease to, that's what they call it, to the parish church. So Presentation Chapel, which is on Douglas Street, that was a chapel of ease to the South Chapel. And in fact, one of the parish priests apparently never said mass in the South Chapel. He always went up, he literally passed the door and went into the South Presentation Chapel. And I was wondering what was the story there, but the reason was, it was actually a chapel of ease in the parish, so legally he could say mass there. He didn't have to say it in the parish church. But naturally he got a bad reputation with the parishioners because he was never turning up in the parish church. As I say then, St. Finbarr's West was built in 1879, but it wasn't a parish until 1890. So that's another. So people who were in the lock, because I don't know when the parish, as you know, on the parish website there's no indication as to when the records are there. So I don't know whether the records start 1879 and are kept in the lock, or whether you have to go down to Stone Chapel to get them between 1879 and 1890. And it's the same for all of them. Christ the King, Turner's Cross, 1931, parish records of 1832, and so on. And then Delegate's Cross, I think, was certainly part of the Stone Parish, but again, I don't know about Cork. Wilton, obviously, Wilton is SMA, that obviously wasn't a parish church originally, so, but that was that's another subdivision of Ballinasbig or Delegate's Cross, and then Toker and so on. So there's a lot of research there to figure out when the church was built and then when the areas became parishes. So then you have other churches in the South Parish. So the workhouse is an interesting one. One day I was down when Eddie was doing his business, talking to people, and remember someone called in and some ancestor was born in the workhouse, and we actually found out that there's records in the workhouse since 1858 or until 1858, I forget which, but there was actually records in the workhouse of baptisms. So the records don't necessarily end up in the parish church. The other churches obviously were all these. No, they wouldn't have had records. Now I was telling you the story about my confirmation, which was confirmed in the South Chapel, but in fact the school I went to was in the middle parish. I actually happened to live in the middle parish too, but there were people in the school who weren't in the middle parish. But I presume because the school was in the middle parish, that's where their records would be. Do you see what I mean? So it gets quite complicated. And I had a look in the South Chapel records at the confirmations, and I'm not in the records there. And the reason is, at some point they decided, this is all getting a bit complicated, so presumably my record is in St. Peter Paul's. So it gets very complicated. And of course then, as I was saying, there's the Chapelese one, and the Blackrock records are from 1810. So that's what, 38 years of records that are done in Blackrock, even though it's still part of the South Parish. So this is just an interesting, when I was doing the research for the history of the church, Father T.J. Walsh wrote a history of the church in 1951, and he went through some of the records and analysed them. Now I made up this graph. He had the figures in the table, and I put them into a graph. It's just interesting to see 1790, and you can see there's a huge jump here in baptisms. The birth rate went up and up. Now, unfortunately, he didn't do it for the famine. It'd be interesting, the famine period, to see but that's just an interesting historical illustration. I mean, the marriages hadn't gone up, This is 1800 at this point here. So what was going on? So this is just what records. So I've tried to group them together, because obviously a child who comes into the church is baptised, and you're not actually technically, legally a Catholic until you're confirmed. I wish someone had told me that, but so in the church there's also conversions, which are also baptisms, of course. Then with the marriage section there are marriage bans, premarital investigations, and obviously then marriage, and then there's obviously funerals and sick calls. Sick calls was a new one on me, and I'll explain that. So the types of records, obviously there's registers of all of these. And then we have, of course, the transcripts, which are the microfilms, the online databases, index cards, and so on. And then there's miscellaneous, which are various registers that were found around the church. So starting off with the baptisms, it says here 1755. That's not true, it's 1756, but that's because this book was bound in 1872. There's a note inside it saying that. The Father John McMurphy, the parish priest, says that he collected up sundry sheets that were lying around, basically, and bound them up. So the first 2 pages, in fact, are marriages, they're not baptisms as well. So this is the dates from the registers online in the National Library. So 1756, and obviously with gaps up to 1880, as you know, and then 1881 is the church. So I just got stuck into then thinking about registration. What's the story of registration in the Catholic Church? So I looked up, I found this website, the Canon Law website, and there's in the book 4, and this is all, it's actually quite straightforward to read. Book 4 is all about the sanctifying office of the church, and the sacraments and baptism, and then we have proof of registration and baptism. And these are actually the requirements on the parish priest to record baptisms. And so it says here, the parish priest of the place where the baptism was confirmed must carefully and without delay record in the register the name of the baptized and the minister, the parents, the sponsors, and so on. Now obviously this changed over time because, as you know, in the early registers, they often were very basic. You might just have the name of the child, the name of the parents, and the sponsors. And there wouldn't be a date of birth, there wouldn't be, any other, much other information. This changes over time. Now here we have the case of an unmarried mother, and so on, and adoption, and if the baptism was done, say you might have had an emergency baptism in a hospital, and how that situation would be recorded as well. So that's kind of interesting. And of course, I was wondering what the situation was with marriage registration and also funerals. And I'll show you later on, but there's actually no section in the canon law saying proof and registration of marriage. It's interesting, but of course, if you think about it, there's a section for proof and registration of baptism, and proof and registration of confirmation. And of course, as far as the Catholic Church is concerned, it's the membership is important. Like it gets you in, like any religion, and after that, it's just they're individual, but you're in the door, so to speak. So that's the important thing they want to record. So like I said, this is the oldest page, and as you can see, it's quite hard to make out. And they're actually, I'm not quite sure whether they're marriages or marriage bands, but I think they're marriages. This then is the first page of page 5, it's baptisms. And it just says baptize, and it took me ages to figure this one. It's baptize up here, and it's N-A-N, not A-N-N. So it's the daughter of Mr., and it's a Mr. P, Mr. and Mrs. and rather than the name of the person. This is another one for 1898, and in this one the columns are all in Latin, the Latin title of the columns, which are all these. So you can see there's a lot more information here, and the comments, of course, are very interesting. And one of the canon law, which is what led me on to one of the canon law requirements was to put in afterwards if the person got married. Now, obviously, as you know, this often isn't. You can see there's a lot of blanks here, so they don't always go back and fill this one out. Because it's quite tricky. I mean, you have to ask the person, when they're baptised, and they might be baptised in a different parish, and everyone isn't as organised as some people are. So it requires the parish priest to be organised, which, it's a lot of work. Now, of course, that these are all available now on the National Library website. So there's 13 of them for the Soul Parish. But then, of course, because I was thinking of the Black Rock, do you remember the Black Rock ones? It's still part of the Soul Parish from 1810 to 1848, so you'd still have to look at these as well if you're interested in the Soul Parish, particularly if you had a suspicion. As it turns out, I do have family down Black Rock, so I'd have to look at these too. And I went through I read all the microfilms and I kind of reordered them, so they're in date order. So that's 1756 down to 1881, but then there's actually converts here, 1879 to 78-79, and there's an appendix written in to 1908 to 1917 that refers to some records back in the 1870s. So there's reading through them. I spent some evenings doing this. You do actually find, little odd things like that. So I don't actually know whether these baptisms had already been put in. Whether it was a duplicate or not, but that would have to be checked. So then I was looking up Irish genealogy just to see, just to confirm that things were. So obviously, you can browse the records, which is I didn't realise you can actually posted searching, you can browse them, which obviously, now, they actually give a number here, which is 82,629, but in the South Parish Registers database, which I'll talk about later on, it's actually 82,678. There's 50 records here, which is interesting. Now that could be all kinds of reasons there, but still, it's good to get the number. Whereas Find My Past doesn't give any numbers, and I find My Past not that easy to search. It doesn't really let you get at the data, but it's obviously fantastic. And of course, Ancestry doesn't have Finbarr something on. In fact, it doesn't have very, very many records at all on the parish baptism. So I just ran a search then. This is an ancestor of mine, a man called Morris Murphy. And I know how I found him was in the South Parish, the database I did of the South Parish records. So I found him there, and I couldn't find him at all in Find My Past. And I didn't find him at all in Irish Genealogical. So it's interesting. His brother, Jeremiah Murphy, so I found him in these two. But I got extra information in Irish Genealogy, which is the sponsors. That's not in either of these two. So, I'll talk later on about the South Parish Records database, that there's gaps in that, and it's only partially transcribed and so on, which explains why this wasn't in. So this is just an example. I thought you might be interested in seeing. I catalogued the archive of the Ursuline Convent in Blackrock, and one of the nuns, they had to produce their baptismal certificate. So this is one from 1796, so this is the sort of thing. And this is Jeremiah Collins, who's the parish priest, and she actually became a Reverend Mother afterwards. So it's worth a while. And this is obviously, this is a kind of a typical example you might see these days on a certificate. So then the conversions, we recently, Gary and myself were down there poking through the books, and we found this one. And this is a whole book of converts from 1929 to 1981. But as I said earlier on, I found some names of converts for 2 years in this other microfilm as well. Now this register is completely untranscribed, so it's new, effectively. But there was also, on the back of a lot of the old registers, you'd get, they're not very consistent. If it just says baptism at the cover, that doesn't mean it only includes baptisms. I've found marriages, deaths, information about paintings in church, new windows that were put in, which is fantastic, of course. An inventory of the vestments, all kinds of information, which is great. And lots of pages where people are practicing their handwriting, or maybe saying, I've now become a priest, I can say, Father, there's lots of this. So, very nice. So, it's exciting when you get to see those things. So the conversion, this is an example in this book, from 1791. Mary Andrews made abjuration of her heresy. There's lots of this language. I'm interested in this one down here. James Dumas was a Huguenot, so he might have been a French Protestant with that name. And he's taken on and here's Jeremiah Collins, he's the vicar of Finbarr. So that's the baptism. So then move on to marriages. You can see there's a similar kind of cover. It was done again in 1872. That's the binding. They're actually quite small. They might go that size. These particular ones. Online, obviously, up to 1880. And again, the rules of, and you can see the section here is it's the same book 4, same the sacraments, then we do marriage, but then it's the form on the celebration of marriage. It's not proof of registration of marriage. And it's kind of hidden away that something here. It's all about the dispensation, because as you know, if you move, you get dispensation if you're closely related, first cousins or whatever. There's obviously other things that come in are if you're from it, you get a letter of freedom if you're from a different parish, from the parish priest of that parish. So there's all. A marriage which has been contracted is to be recorded also in the baptismal register in which the baptism of the spouses was entered. And that's what I was talking about earlier on. And if the priest was conscientious, he would hunt back and find the baptism. Now, of course, he had to find out whether the person was baptized anyhow. They couldn't be married in the church if they weren't baptized in the Catholic faith. And this is where if a spouse contracted marriage elsewhere than in the parish of baptism, he used to send a letter out to the parish priest. Yeah, and here's wherever marriage is validated, or declared invalid, or dissolved other than by death, the parish priest of the place of the celebration of marriage must be informed so that an entry may be duly made in the registers of marriage and baptism. And that's it. That's the only thing to do with marriage, with registration of marriage, which is interesting. Now this is the first page of the register I was showing you earlier, and this is this one up here, April 1775, marriage. Here's John Haley and Catherine. It actually take up quite a lot of room. You're thinking you're just reading across the line, and no, it could be a whole little paragraph. Obviously, they get shorter. They realise they're wasting a lot of time writing out. There's no other information there. This is just the entry. There's no names of the parents, no address, nothing. So this is very basic. I'd say, canon law changed, like the requirements were made. This is the microfilms, it's only 7 microfilms. And again, I did a search. The marriages on here are 19,129. And same period, because obviously the registration database that we have, it covers more beyond 1880. It's 18,966. So again, there's a discrepancy there.
Where did we get the extra ones?
I don't know, isn't it? I don't think we'll ever find out unless someone's prepared to, Yeah, I don't know. I thought it might be marriage bands. There's 222 marriage bands, but that doesn't, I thought that didn't seem to work. Like here's the final text, or not in ancestry, UK. Now this as well, these are not in any database either, pre-matrimonial investigations. And of course yeah. So this is actually, it's like a form. And the priest sat down with the bride proposing by a rule and asking these questions, your name, have you been baptized, where were you baptized, all these questions. Have you been married before? That's not true. So it's probably much the same as they have today with the marriage counselling, to sit down and answer all these questions. Consent, unity, place of confirmation, name temperament. Now people think the name temperament came in 1919, but I found mentions of it before that, long before that. So there's another thing called domestic, which is in the canon law too. So I'd be interested in trying to find out more about the history of that. Because some conversions, the very early conversions in the 18th, 19th century, converted because they were getting married, and its nature was mentioned there as well. So marriage bands, of course, they're a very brief period, after 20 years, and they're online. And of course, as you know, they were the priest said to the soul that was going to get married. Does anybody have an objection? I mean, it's a bit like you say, when you're trying to get married, you give so much notice to the registrar. It's the same idea. And marriage notices, that seems to be something kind of similar. It's to do with coming into the church and telling the priest, and through being announced in the altar, but telling the priest that we're getting married, and the priest putting all the information. Very similar to the pre-matrimonial investigations. I haven't figured out the same idea. Marriage bands are microfilmed, so they're in the online databases. These two are, there's a few volumes of these. This is an example of marriage bands in the database. So then I ran a search on these Barry Coleman and Ellen Desmond are in the database that we have in South Ireland.
Sally.
Right, so you can see the discrepancies in the data as long as I hold it up. So that's interesting how the date wasn't kept, which is of course a bit of a warning one. I wouldn't mind so much with the spelling because that's obviously a straightforward transcription error, which will show all the same how you check out everything. This is one of the marriage notices in 1925, and I presume this is just a priest going through, writing down who's going to get married when, so the church is available, sort of thing. It's more like a diary than anything else. But you can see the name, and there's a 15 Friars Walk here, and information about them. It's not very detailed. Now the funerals, and I was trying to find out what the story with funerals is, or burials. From January 1919, they all seem to begin in 1919, and I couldn't find what's the reason, so I'd be interested in finding out. I couldn't see anything in the canon law about it, but obviously some papal decree came out that these records had to be kept. So that's an example of what's in the database, and from 1919 to 1972, and then there's a gap, and there's another gap here. Now, in the database, we have 232 different cemeteries recorded. Some people were buried from South Parish to Waterford, Donegal, Dublin, everything. Now, a lot of those, in fact, are duplicates because the spelling has changed, so the database isn't picking up. We'd have to adjust that spelling, but still in all, just because a person is in the parish doesn't mean they're buried nearby, if you like. Like, obviously this is the early ones, 1824. There's a few early ones here, 24, 63, 1905, and then the 1919 is the main thing. Obviously most people are St. Joseph's and Douglas, and St. Finbarr, and here we are in Genealogical. So that's the thing you have to watch out for. Again, I just went through the various sources. There's none on ancestry. And of course none on, because they're after 1880 and they weren't microfilmed, none of the burials are on the National Library or Find My Past or whatever. Sick calls then is the other interesting one. Now again, this is because under canon law, anointing the sick is a sacrament, so these have to be kept, which is interesting, because it's fantastic information in these if you get into them. So 1868 up to 1970. And I was hoping to find my grandmother, who died in 1940, lived on Evergreen Road, but of course I hadn't realised at the time that wasn't, she died in 1940 and Turner's Cross became a parish in 1932, so I can't find her. So she would definitely have been, she died quite suddenly in a way, but she might have been visited by the church all the same. So this is the usual kinds of information. It's just name of the person, address, the date they were visited, and of course they could have been visited a few times, whether they were anointed or not, but that was the main reason for keeping the record. And often there was a comment whether they had died, or sometimes there's a comment like to the effect that the person is a hypochondriac. So I think it says things like seeking attention or something like that. So of course the priest had to go, but a very interesting. If you wanted to find out if someone was at a certain address at a certain time, could be very handy. They are not in they're not in any database or anything yet. Now we found a few holy communions at the back of one book, the back of the confirmation register. There's not very many of them, just a tiny amount. And you can see the information is fairly, it's just name really, and age I think, and that's it. I think it was much older, because remember it was Little Nelly, wasn't it? She's the reason it's so young in Ireland. Yeah, because is it Little Nelly? She was the one that was confirmed at 4 or something. And that dropped the age down, that's why, because in other countries it's much older. Yeah. So I don't know, I tried to. Confirmations is just in one book, 1861 to 1906. Of course these weren't microfilmed either, but there's some in this one for 1858, that microfilm. And I can say that's very up and down, because at one point it was all, everybody who was confirmed in the church is recorded, but then at some point they got fed up with this because the classes got very big. So I was confirmed there, but because the church, my home school, so to speak, it wasn't that home parish, so it's actually written at the top of the page, schools not in the parish are not recorded in these records. So tough. I can't find myself anywhere. So it just shows if someone was trying to track me, I think I'm recorded in several different churches at this time, and not what you'd expect. So then, all these little wrinkles. So again, I had a look at the canon law, and this is proof and registration of confirmation. The names of those confirmed, the minister, the parents, the sponsors, place and date of confirmation are to be recorded. The parish priest must notify the priest of the place of baptism that the confirmation was confirmed. Now, I doubt very much this was done. I mean, I was baptized in the loch. I think it totally depends on whether the priest was an organised kind of person and he had the time to do this. I know I might say it, but I'd say they didn't do it. Yeah. So here's this is girls. But then they started breaking them down into girls, boys, because of the schools, I suppose. Girls, 1945. And so you have the name, the address, and the confirmation name that they took. So the parents' names aren't in. Maybe they are. So also in some parishes there's these other records of confraternities, and that's kind of a whole new area. And of course you're completely dependent on the records just lying in a cupboard somewhere. And this confraternity of the Holy Family, that was huge, and it was there was male and female branches. Now the male branch seemed to survive longer, and so that's got there's register with names, addresses. I was going to say telephone numbers, but lots of details. So that's very, and of course they were repeated over time because they had to keep track of one of the things. If you're a membership of a confraternity, you have to attend mass and the sacraments. So they would actually you would be re-registered effectively again, and there was a tick box, and then to tick you had attended various meetings and so on. So the record was repeated over and over, if you like. This is the Sick Poor Society, which my grandfather was a member of, so I was delighted to. Now that's a still going charitable society. This is the Association of Prayer. There was also a penny bank. And there's all kinds of, you can see there's all these other ones that I found. And there was various booklets of photographs and photographs of the walls and all kinds of things. Now obviously with all of these things you're totally dependent on the priest or whoever being obliging. None of these things are in any kind of database. So then the South Parish Registered Database. Now, as you know, Joe O'Reilly, who's your member, for a long time he was involved in giving out information to people who called, and that information was, from what we can figure out, the information only goes up to 1996, and so that was a false scheme where people, as you know, during the bad times in the 80s and 90s, people were employed on false schemes to transcribe this kind of information. And there are shoe boxes full of index cards. And unfortunately, they didn't transcribe everything. It was like for the baptisms, it might be, just the name of the person, the name of the parents, the date, the register number. That's it. No address, no sponsors. And similar for marriages and so on. So then the cards were transcribed into an Excel spreadsheet, and that's what Joe O'Reilly used to use to give up the information. I've now put all those into a database, and if there's time I can show people the database. What do you think? Yeah. So I can get numbers and stuff like that out of them. So here we are, 127,000 baptisms on the marriage bed this time. 30,000 marriages and 7,000 funerals. So there's a lot. If we wanted to make it a perfect data set, there's a huge amount more information and work to be done. First of all, there was people couldn't read the writing, So Xerox, the word Xerox was put in, so at least we can pull them out now and we can go back and try and, decipher. So that was a useful thing. So that's the first job. But the second job then would be to fill in the missing data, which of course is a huge job, so I don't know would it ever get done. And then, because the records are only done up to 1995, obviously there's missing, no, not a lot, but there's missing information since then, 20 years. And the other thing is, the other books like the book of conversions, the missing volumes, so to speak, that could be done. So this is I'll show you that I just did a screenshot there at the front end. So that's that. So I'll show you the database.